Hello everyone, this is Many Ninja speaking. We're not looking at a proper bootleg breakdown video in this case, but rather what I'm going to consider more action figure research sort of video. Namely, I wanted to take a look and kind of study some more ball joint setups there. And in order to do that, I noticed that on eBay there's a bunch of auctions right now for Kaiyodo/Revoltech joints, namely assorted ball joints of different sizes in there. So on a lark I decided to go pick up one of those auctions, had it shipped over from a Chinese seller, and well, here we have them now in hand to take a look at. And pretty much as all the auctions kind of put there, they send you a random assortment full of random colors of about 11 or so different types of ball joints and double ball joints in some cases here. And in terms of the types, they range in a few different styles. You have a bit more smooth moving ones, and in this case what we have on screen right now is more of a, I believe a ratchet is what we're talking about, a ratchet joint, which is more of a clicky joint that holds its position very well but doesn't move too great, I'd say. Here's a general picture from one of the auctions showing the different types here, so we can see the different sizes and that there are double ball joints that are available as part of this group. But generally, you don't know what you're getting until you open the package. And once I opened the package and did a quick count, I noticed I actually have 86 joints total in this case, so thanks to the seller, you accidentally sent me a few too many. But another thing I noticed is there is definitely a great discrepancy in terms of the amounts that came in. When they say it's random, they really mean random. First thing, just a general aside, I had 86, but there are random few broken bits, including, I think that means they might be offering a translucent joint somewhere down the line, which would be interesting. But moving on to the actual bits, we're going to look at the first one. I believe this is just off the top of my head. Actually, now that I think about it, these can't be the 0.6 because these are a bit bigger. These actually have to be the 0.7 that I have in hand there. I don't have a ton of those. It's a bit of a weird size really, but they generally are pretty smooth moving, so they're not too bad. The next bit, which are the 0.3s, they're generally what you're going to be using for smaller joint replacement, basically your wrists and your ankles. Thankfully, these ones are indeed smooth moving in this case, and they did give quite a bit of them. Kind of wish there were more either generic color or skin color ones on this one, but well, they give you assorted colors for a reason, so it is what it is on there. Generally speaking, in terms of the quality, they're nice high. Even though they are smoother moving, they will hold their position well enough, so that's not a problem at all. They're actually pretty good, especially if you needed replacement joints, and I'm glad they gave a decent amount of them for this one. Moving on, where these next two are a bit odd in this case. I'm leaning towards these being a little closer to the 0.6 centimeter scale in here, but they're a little different than some of the other ones because they are ratcheted joints, but they have their section in the middle there. I only have two from this particular sample size, so I can't really talk too much about them, and they're a bit harder to use, or to find uses for them. And speaking of 0.6 centimeter, this is a little more of a standard one, matching with what the other ones have in this case. So about the same size as the one I just looked at, and they are also ratcheted joints. Tend to hold their position very well, but I kind of wish they were a little more smooth moving for more general use in there. Still generally, oh, I say generally a lot, I just noticed, still quite useful though, in order to use in there. I think I have like 10 or so total. I'm just doing a rough count in my head right now. Not too bad. Kind of wish more skin tone ones in that one. The next one is going to be one of the double ball joints set up there. I believe, yeah, one side is bigger than the other one in this case. And pretty much, curiously, a lot of these are these one blue tone, so I guess they were all taken from a particular figure mold at this point. A little curious, but I digress there. Quite a few of those in the collection, so that's pretty useful there. And we have the next batch here, which is the one I have by far the most of in this case, and that's going to be the 0.8 centimeter ball joint in this case. Now, as you can kind of see, they are all going to be ratchet joints in this case, so they don't have fluid motion, but they do hold their poses very well. What I will warn about this and the last set is some of them were definitely quite stiff moving in this case. A lot of them in this generally darker metallic color, at least in my samplings. Either like a really dark black or kind of a metallic silver kind of color in there. And for the last one, we have the 1 centimeter ball joints. I'm not exactly sure where they might be using this one most, but I don't know if I plan to use these one too much because by far these were the ones that were the hardest to move in this case. I had to actually put a lot more force into moving these ones, and I'm kind of worried that I'd be breaking something when messing around with them. They didn't send too many of them. I think I have all of 9 total on there, and they all tend to be roughly the same amount of stiffness, which kind of makes them harder to work with. For the last bit, we kind of have some weird one-offs or very limited amounts. They're not exactly the same joint in this case. They're both the same kind of double ball joint in this case. I think they're both either a 0.6 or... yeah, one is clearly a 0.6 on both sides. The other one is kind of a weird one that I can't properly describe. But generally speaking, they tend to move pretty well. They are ratcheted joints in this case, but unfortunately not enough to really make use of them. And then we have this one double ball joint that's kind of a smaller grade in this case. I believe it was a smoother moving one off the top of my head. But because there's only one of them, it's unfortunately not very, very useful for me in this case because I have nothing else to use with it. You need at least a matching pair to make any good real use of this, unless you are using them strictly as a replacement joint setup. Having reviewed this thing in general now, and also kind of take a look at the general quality of them, I can say everything's not actually half bad in this case. I'm not sure if these are actually factory rejects or just swiped from the factory in this case, but generally speaking, they are mostly useful for their causes in there. I'm actually quite happy with the smallest ball joint there because they're smooth moving and actually be very, very useful, I'd find, for replacing some joints that I have issues with in general for other figures, as well as some more original work down the line. And the only ones I'd say I have any general issue with are probably going to be the 1 centimeter joints, just because while they are functional, they are a lot stiffer, and I mean a lot stiffer than everything else that came in this little grab bag that I got shipped in from China. If you aren't using these ones for strict joint replacement, you're probably not going to get a lot of use of these ones in general, just because they're just a lot harder to move about. I really can't recommend using those ones. The only other kind of caveat I have with this whole setup is because of the random nature of everything. The color selection is going to be a bit rough at this time. As you can see, they're kind of all over the place. I really wish I had some more neutral or skin colored tones, but, well, when it's random, you get what you get. As simple as that. Even with that in mind, I actually went and I'm buying some more of them after this. So we'll definitely be seeing some use of this stuff down the line for some custom work. For now, thanks for watching.